Hey, do you even have a purpose coming into work? You are a total waste of oxygen. How does your company even put up with you? Useless guys like you should just stay at home, in bed. Hello, Christian. Was there something I could help you with today? You don't even know what you've done? The paperwork that you submitted today was full of errors. I was this close to having to work off the clock to fix all the mistakes. Perhaps you need to have someone more capable take over this contract. You're more trouble than you're worth. Do me a favor and go make your mistakes on someone else's account. I'm sorry that you feel that way about me, but I'm quite certain there weren't any mistakes in the paperwork. You're kidding, right? It was full of them. Your numbers didn't match up at all with our numbers. So I ended up having to redo all of our paperwork so that the numbers lined up. You have no idea how much extra work I had to do. What? Doesn't that just mean that your paperwork was wrong to begin with? Shut your mouth. Don't forget who you're talking to here. Let me remind you that I am the elite banker for one of your company's most important clients. My apologies. It wasn't my intention to offend you in any way. I'm well aware that you work on behalf of Prelcom, but I can assure you that there were no errors in our paperwork. You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about when I said that you are a complete waste of oxygen. You just put the blame on someone else for your own mistakes. That's just cowardly. You're absolutely right, and I agree with you completely. You're nothing more than a lowly employee, only suitable for punching in numbers and waiting for your next command. Compared to my status as an elite banker, we're in a completely different class. So don't think that you can agree with my opinions as if we're equals. You don't have that right. I'm sorry for overstepping my boundaries. Anyways, you better redo the paperwork and deliver the brand new documents by tomorrow. What? Why is that necessary? Because I said so, you fool. Besides, I had to redo our paperwork, so you should have to endure the same punishment. But as far as I can tell, there was nothing wrong with our numbers. How do you expect me to write up a new report in that case? That's not my problem. Figure it out yourself. You just need to do as I say. But there's nothing to fix in our report. Be quiet. If you're gonna keep complaining to avoid doing the work, we'll just break off this contract. Do you understand? I better have the new paperwork in my hands by tomorrow morning. Christian, please, wait! Let me just run this past my manager first. So, that was what took place during our call. Should I give in to Christian's demands and write up a new report?
Don't even bother. Maybe you can just stick a new cover page on it and call it a day. I'm sure that fool won't even notice the difference. It won't even matter if you present him with a brand new report. He's just gonna complain about it anyways. He's always been like that, so don't even waste your time worrying about his illogical demands.
I see. Was he this difficult to work with even when you were handling the contract?
Difficult doesn't even come close to describing the huge nuisance he's been. Now that he's in a managerial position, I bet he's become even more troublesome to work with. I'm sorry for making you take over such a difficult client, Ronald.
It's not your fault, but it seems like I've already run into a dilemma about how to deal with his antics.
Don't worry, this shouldn't last for much longer. I have a feeling he won't be able to keep up his ridiculous games forever. Sooner or later, he's bound to face the consequences.
What do you mean by that?
I'm just saying that because of the way he acts, like he's so much better than everyone else, I'm sure he's made a lot of enemies along the way as well. Things will get much better soon, I'm sure. You'll have to bear with him for a little while longer, but don't let him get under your skin too much.
Sure, if that's what you think is best. I'll do my best.
That's what I like to hear. By the way, how's your wife doing these days?
She's great, as always.
I'm sure you know that our company is greatly indebted to her as well, so please give her my best regards.
I will, of course.
If I remember correctly, isn't it almost your wedding anniversary? Perhaps you can take her out to dinner at that fancy steakhouse that her father is also so fond of.
That's a great idea. I think I'll do that.
Thank you very much for your thoughtfulness. I'll talk to her and see how she feels about it.
I can't believe you had the nerve. You actually thought that it would be okay to bring someone like that to such a high-end steakhouse? Wait, don't tell me she's your wife or something. I hope you don't think that you can get away with treating my wife that way. What are you talking about? What kind of an idiot takes their blind wife out to a fancy restaurant like that? Don't you have any common sense? Think about all the staff and other customers who have to accommodate her handicap. What makes you think that you should be so entitled? You're nothing more than a lowly paper pusher. That's enough. We were supposed to be celebrating our wedding anniversary tonight. You had no right to ruin our evening like that. You're definitely gonna pay for what you did. Oh, sure. Whatever you say. I hope you're not trying to threaten me or anything, because nothing you say can frighten me, you poor, worthless nobody. Anyways, that's not the kind of woman that you should be bringing to a fancy steakhouse in the first place. I said that's enough. So what if you're a so-called elite banker for our client? Tonight's dinner had nothing to do with our business relationship. You had absolutely no right to look down on us like that. What you said was completely unacceptable. And it was definitely not your position to scream at us to go home. Don't you think you're the one with no consideration for the restaurant or the rest of the customers? Actually, it's more embarrassing that lower-end people like you think that they deserve to dine there. And you realized that too when I pointed it out, right? That's why you left in the middle of your meal. Don't be so sure of yourself. We have a long-established relationship with the owner of that restaurant, so we decided to leave as a consideration to him. We didn't want to cause any more of a scene, so we decided to deal with the situation in a mature way. I hope you don't get the wrong idea about why we left. A long-established relationship? Yeah, right. How is that even possible? There's no way that you have the skills or the experience to establish any kind of relationship with people in this class. Well, let me tell you now that your career is finished. And it's too late now to make up for anything that you've done before. Huh? What are you even talking about? My wife is usually very good-natured and takes everything in stride, but she is absolutely furious with your behavior tonight. Unfortunately, it seems like you've really taken things too far this time. I have no interest whatsoever in anything your blind wife has to say about me. All I said was that handicapped people shouldn't be eating out at high-end restaurants. If only for their good, they should just stay at home. Do you think I said something that was wrong? Everything you said and did was wrong. But this is the kind of place that only elite bankers like me should frequent. Bringing your blind wife here is nothing but a nuisance for everyone. So that's why I said you should go home, and stay home. I'm sure most people will agree that it's a legitimate argument. Well, in that case, we'll be transferring our $500 million in assets to a different bank immediately. Huh? You heard me. And of course, we'll be sure to inform your bank that the reason we are closing our account is because of your disrespectful actions. I told you that you were way out of line this time, right? Now you get to pay. What? What 500 million are you talking about? Perhaps this information was never passed along to a dimwit like you. But my wife's family has a tremendous amount of money deposited in your bank. Your wife's family? So what? There's probably not much your blind wife can do about it anyways. She may be blind, but she's not stupid. Just so you know, my wife's family owns and operates multiple real estate and hotel businesses, and they're one of the wealthiest families in the country. What? Her family invests in our company as well. As a matter of fact, it's even possible that they've made a financial contribution to your bank, in addition to keeping their funds there. But who knows? You're joking, right? Of course I'm serious. What good would it even do for me to joke about this? My wife may not be able to rely on her eyesight, but her mind is as sharp as the elite business person. She's very much involved in her family's business dealings, and I'm proud of everything that she's accomplished. But when she heard the way you were insulting me at the restaurant, she was infuriated. Which, like I said before, is quite unusual for her because she hardly ever loses her temper. Infuriated? At me? Who else, you buffoon? I'm sure if it was just that one incident at the restaurant, she wouldn't have gotten this angry. But she's also well aware about your constant put-downs towards me. She's quite determined to make you pay for everything. Wait, is all of this really true? She's already getting in touch with her father as we speak. So I'm sure that his secretary will be contacting your bank right away. And I can guarantee you that your name will be coming up in that call. It's all over for you. Are you serious about doing all of that? How is this even possible? Your bank is going to be losing a very important account that's worth a lot of money. And it's all your fault. I'm pretty certain they'll make you take responsibility for such a huge blunder. You may be an account manager now, but you definitely won't be moving up any higher than that. That's for sure. I still can't believe this. This can't be happening to me. You have no idea how hard I've worked to get this far. Well, even if it weren't for this incident involving my wife, your career as a banker was going to be over sooner or later. What exactly do you mean by that? Your unlawful actions have already been exposed. An elite banker that embezzled company money. I'm sure that's news worth making the headlines. Huh? What are you talking about? My manager already told me everything. Word is that everyone hates you, and you've made enemies left and right because of how you look down on everyone, right? People hate me? Like who? You really have no idea? Everyone that's ever had to deal with your arrogance. Which, to say the least, includes everyone at my office. What? I don't understand. What reason do they even have for hating me? You honestly weren't aware? This is a more serious problem than I imagined. You're nothing more than a worthless bully who's only capable of dealing with his frustrations by blaming other people for his own mistakes. You don't possibly think that anyone would be foolish enough to respect someone like that, do you? Wait, now you're the one that's getting out of line. And besides, I haven't done anything illegal, so I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Embezzling company money for your personal use? I think it's a big enough deal that it'll make the headlines, and your career will be over for sure. As a matter of fact, the police will get involved as well. That settles it. You can say goodbye to your elite banker status, and any other good standing you might have enjoyed. This can't be happening! And what's embezzlement? I've never done such a thing. You don't need to convince me. Take it up with your company and the police. Well, this is just all the result of you making enemies wherever you go. It's only a natural consequence. You're getting everything that you deserve. You just have no idea what I need to deal with. Being in middle management is more stressful than you can ever imagine. I couldn't help it. My job was getting too overwhelming. So what? I just padded my expense report occasionally and teased some of our business acquaintances. No harm done, right? That's where you're wrong. It might just be stress relief for you, but have you ever thought about the people who are on the receiving end of your behavior? But if it's work-related stress that causes you to act like this, then how do you explain the way you treated my wife today? I believe she has nothing to do with your job, so it would be irrational to blame your actions on stress. Oh, well, that was something else. I never meant for it to come out that offensive. I was just trying to look out for everyone's best interests. You don't actually think that I believe such a lame excuse, do you? I assure you that I will be looking into what I can do about this matter thoroughly. And first things first, my wife will be transferring her family's assets to a different bank immediately. In addition, we'll be issuing a complaint for damages in regards to your speech and conduct towards my wife. A complaint? For what? What you've done is considered defamation under the law. Oh, and I almost forgot. You threw a glass of water in my face when you told me to leave the restaurant. That counts as assault, if I remember right. You're not going to blame that on you being drunk or anything, right? It won't even help if you do. That was... no, well... It wasn't out of spite or anything. I really didn't mean any harm. It was just a misunderstanding. Or rather, a misleading expression.
What kind of an excuse is that? It sounds like you're having trouble finding your words today. Why don't you just say what's on your mind, like you always do?
I'm very sorry. How can I express my sincere regrets to your wife for saying those things to her? Would you please do me a favor and explain to her that this was just all a small mistake? Make her understand that I never meant any harm. I am completely ashamed about the way that I acted, and you have my sincere apologies for my behavior. So why don't we just settle this matter between us? There's no need to make this into a big deal. We're all adults here, so let's just be mature about it.
You're kidding, right? You want to act like none of this ever happened? When in fact, you were the one who was a poor example of the way a mature adult should act.
Yes, I'm very aware of my ineptitude. However, we had all had a few drinks and had let ourselves loose.
That doesn't make any sense, especially because we weren't even drinking with each other. As a matter of fact, even if we were drinking together, your actions would still be unforgivable.
I'm very sorry. I just got a call from my manager. Please, try and persuade your wife to change her mind. I'm begging you. I swear that I never had any ill intent. Please, you have to help me.
Yeah, right. What makes you think that we would ever do that?
How can you be so cruel?
That's easy. It's because I've always disliked you from the beginning. Maybe if you finally learned your lesson after all of this, you'll look for a new way to deal with work stress from now on. Anyways, goodbye, former elite My wife's family is well known for their wealth and success. They had an account with Christian's bank to manage a portion of their personal assets. But as a result of the incidents at the restaurant, they decided to transfer all of their funds to a different bank immediately. When the account executives were informed of this matter, it didn't take long for them to find out that Christian was the reason behind the sudden request. In addition, the truth about his embezzlement was also revealed. So not only did he receive disciplinary dismissal for his dishonesty, he was also reported to the police for his illegal actions. I filed a complaint for damages against Christian for assault and was able to receive a large payment for damages as well as a restraining order. After that, I no longer had any professional connections with Christian, which was a huge relief. Christian, on the other hand, was abandoned even by his own family, so he really ended up losing everything. Perhaps for him, it was a lesson well learned. If you wrongfully use your status to bully people, you're only going to end up losing everything that you've worked so hard for.
Matthew? Our parents are planning to meet in another hour or so for the first time, right? But your parents are telling me that they haven't been able to get a hold of you all morning. And right now, they're really worried about where you are. That's why I'm texting you now. And I just tried giving you a call a few minutes ago, but you didn't even pick up. I hope that you're okay right now, and will be here in time for when our parents finally meet. Can you at least tell me where you are? I'm going to go and get my parents now and bring them out, so I'd better see you with your parents when it's time.
What's up? Wendy? Ah, that's right. Today's the day we were supposed to be introducing our parents to each other. That's not good.
Matthew! What the hell has been going on with you? You haven't been responding to any of us, and we've been worried sick.
I'm sorry. I've been driving for a couple hours now and had no time to look at my phone.
What? Are you on your way to come meet us all here now?
Well, about that. I completely forgot that our parents are meeting each other today, and so I'm on my way to a ski resort to have a bit of fun for a couple of days.
You're heading to a ski resort? The day before yesterday, you and I were literally on the phone with each other talking about our parents' meeting.
You called me way too early in the morning, and I was half asleep talking to you. I don't even remember half of that. I was probably thinking it was some sort of dream. Sorry.
Seriously? Well then, what are we going to do about today?
The only option now is to cancel the plans we made.
This isn't something that I can just cancel right now. We are supposed to all be meeting right now, so it's way too sudden. And right now, we're here at the place we plan on getting married at, so I was hoping this would be a great place to have everyone meet and chat.
But listen, when it comes to you and I getting married, we're going to need the permission from our parents to do that first, right? And having them all meet and talk about us getting married at the place we want to have our wedding at is a bit too crazy for my parents. I don't think it will leave a good impression.
But canceling this whole meetup right when we're all showing up is even more crazy, and neither of our parents are going to approve of that from you.
Ah, that's a good point. And what's even worse is that you already reserved that place for the 6 of us to have dinner, so canceling now means you'll still have to pay. But hey, you don't have to get too worried about the hefty price for canceling, because our parents can handle it for us.
You shouldn't even be thinking of that right now, Matthew. It's not about the money, but the fact that you forgot about this very important plan and aren't going to show up for it.
Yeah, I'll take care of paying for that place so you can stop worrying about it. You know that marrying me means you'll be getting a lot of money from me, so you don't have to get so upset over something as cheap as that place.
What? You think you'll be bringing me a lot of money in this marriage? What are you talking about?
No matter what you try and do about today, I'm already way out of town and won't be able to come back in time to see you all. If I turned around right now, I'd be back in town later tonight, which is way too late, right?
Seriously? By the way, why the hell did you even go on a ski trip today anyway? Even if you did forget about the meeting our parents and us were supposed to have today, isn't it a bit too sudden for you to be going on a trip like that without telling me?
Right, well, I chose to go on this trip pretty quickly. Originally, my friend was planning to go on this trip with another one of their friends, but that friend ended up having another plan get in the way, so I was invited to go last minute. My friend said that instead of having to cancel the whole trip, it'd just be easier to have me join.
And so, instead of looking at what plans you already had for today, you just decided to tag along with that friend without any second thoughts?
I'm sorry. But since I'm on this ski trip right now, we'll have to do this whole parents' meeting thing another day.
Another day. Aren't you being just a little too careless about our relationship right now?
But I'm saying you don't have to get so worked up over what happened. I'm your fiancé, and I'm saying that it's going to be fine, so you shouldn't have any complaints, right?
Right. That's the kind of person I should have expected you to be. All right, then. I'll tell our parents that you're not going to be making it here today. And I'd like you to sort all of this out with your parents later, okay?
Okay. I'm so close to the resort now, so I'll see you later.
Hey, Wendy. Just because you had one date canceled on you, that doesn't mean you can keep complaining about it over and over again, okay? Emma? It's been a while. The last time I think the two of us talked with one another was years ago at our class reunion, just after we both turned 21, right? And what's this about having a date canceled? Just a second ago, I was talking with Matthew about that whole situation of yours. I am finally able to go on this ski trip with him, so can you stop getting all upset with him and in the way of our trip? What? Hold on a sec. What? The person that Matthew said invited him out to go to that ski resort was you? Yeah, it was me. Is there anyone else on that trip with you guys? Nope. It's just him and I sharing a room together at this ski resort. Huh? Well, you shouldn't be getting that upset about it, right? The two of us are just enjoying a little vacation together. Listen, Wendy, you need to be more careful about having Matthew on a leash like that. If you keep trying to hold him by your side all the time, he's only going to try harder to break free. It was just one date that he had to cancel on suddenly. And he only did that so he could go on a small trip with another woman. This isn't something to be so worked up over, and you should try to be a bit more lenient with him and his choices, okay? He even told me that he wants a more relaxed relationship. Today, he canceled on a date with me? Look at what you're doing. You're trying to pick at every word I say like some kind of maniac. We didn't have any plans to go out on a date today, though. We'd only planned on having our parents meet face-to-face at lunch today before we get married. Huh? Wait, are you really trying to restrain Matthew that much that you're willing to marry him and keep him all to yourself? Oh my god, you're already at the worst stage of being a greedy girlfriend. Whether you think I'm trying to restrain him or not, the only reason that we were supposed to have this meeting today is so our parents could see how happy we are together. But to tell you the truth, our whole relationship started because his parents introduced me to him. Huh? Emma, I've known you as the type of girl that finds joy in stealing other women's boyfriends and playing around with their feelings. And I'm sure that even this time, you plan on doing exactly the same thing with Matthew. But Emma, you are an employee for one of the companies that Matthew's dad's company works together with, right? So, based on your position within that company, you're going to start a very bad situation between everyone involved.
Wendy, why didn't you say something about all of this earlier to me? Your grandpa? He's one of my dad's company's biggest shareholders?
Well, if that weren't the case, would you not be texting me right now?
I just assumed that because your dad only works as a factory floorman, my parents were leagues above yours, making me the far more powerful person in our relationship.
So that's what all of that was about. A little while back, you said that me marrying you meant that I'd be getting a lot of your money. What you thought of our parents is the reason why you were saying that then.
Not telling me about all of this before is ridiculous of you.
Wait, why is that ridiculous of me? As your father's son, and the one expected to be taking over his company when he retires, you've been joining him at all of those meetings with his shareholders, right? And I know that you've already met my grandparents before. So you should have noticed my dad always sitting in on those meetings with your dad and the other shareholders, and gotten a pretty good idea of who my family is, right? Heck, I've even talked with you before about how your parents are pretty close to my grandpa, right?
Huh?
Did you know that I am also aware of your dad's company needing me to marry you to save it? At the moment, his company isn't doing so well, but your dad thinks that by having me marry you, it'll help make his company look more suitable for my grandpa and other shareholders to put more money into. Well, all of that aside, you have really messed up, Matthew. While we were supposed to have a very important lunch with all our parents finally being able to meet, you went off to a ski resort, leaving us all behind, and proceeded to cheat on me. In other words, showing me that you don't want to marry me. That's not good, Matthew.
I'd like you to hold on for a couple seconds. I'm sure that you're even aware that us humans are not perfect, and every so often we can act on our bad consciences, right? So, you know...
I know what?
Well, I didn't mean to actually do any of that, and it was just a slip-up.
If you're waiting for me to say that I'll forgive you, or that I'll forget something like this ever happened between us, you're going to be waiting a very long time.
Wait,
Well, if that's not it, then what should I know, Matthew?
Well, if you don't stay together with me and get married, then my dad is going to let my older sister have the company, and I'll get nothing when he retires. So please, Wendy, can you please stop thinking that I don't want to marry you anymore after what happened? I'll even be willing to pay you some kind of settlement, and as for Emma, I'll make sure that things between me and her look like they never even happened.
Don't worry, as I already know that you'll be paying for whatever settlement I ask for. And as for Emma, you can continue whatever shallow romance you had with her.
Then this means you're going to forgive me, right?
That's not at all what any of this means. By the way, Matthew, wasn't it already known that your older sister would be taking your dad's place after he retires? I could have sworn that's what everyone had been talking about in those meetings before.
What?
I never even heard from anyone about you being the one to take your dad's place as the CEO of that company. And even my grandpa is saying that he's going to have your sister take his place.
Huh?
And now that I've mentioned that, there is some bad news for Emma as well. Emma is an employee for one of the companies that works together with your dad's company as a customer, and the news of her having a secret relation with you, even though you have a fiancé, is beginning to spread. And what's even worse is the money used to take you both on that little ski trip was money from the company she's working for. The company is now asking for her to stay home and not come into work as they investigate what's going on.
You know about that as well?
Well, if you're willing to cheat on me with one of your dad's customers' employees, then I don't think you even have a chance at becoming the next CEO.
What's going to happen to me then?
Don't try asking me a question like that, because I have no clue. But just know that the two of us are no longer getting married. I'm going to have a lawyer begin talking with you about the steps following this, so make sure to keep your eyes and ears open for when they come to talk to you.
Are you kidding me? Are you not even going to bother giving me one more chance to make this all up to you?
Actually, I've had enough of being your fiancé and girlfriend. What you've done this past week or so has really worn me and my emotions down, and I just don't have it in me anymore to be around you. So there's no reason for me to give you a second chance, and even now it's killing me to have to text you.
Wendy!
Goodbye, Matthew. Why do I have to pay you any kind of settlement now? And not just that, but I'm going to have to be fired for what happened as well? I was really only wanting you to talk with my lawyer about this, Emma. I have to come face to face with you about this so that you know just how pissed off I am about everything. Ugh. I'm sure that I already know all the details about you and Matthew as I've heard enough from him about it. But that trip you took with Matthew to the ski resort? You used money from the company you work for to pay for that whole trip, right? So, do you now see doing something like that as a good reason for your employer to fire you? Huh? What do you know about that? Normally, someone like me wouldn't know a thing about that, but I am in touch with both Matthew and his family, so I learn all kinds of things about what's going on within your guys' worlds. And after learning that Matthew had been cheating on me, there was no reason to not go searching for answers as to why and how it was all happening. What the heck? I know that I'm only watching all of this take place from outside, but getting upset at me for what you both did is not going to get you anywhere closer to being forgiven by your employer, or Matthew's family. And as for that settlement, that has nothing to do with me either, so I'm not even going to comment on it. What? That is all something you and Matthew need to talk about, right? You did things you're not supposed to do, with someone who is the son of a CEO your employer works with. Complaining to me about what's happened and what's going to happen will not change things for you, and is a bit annoying for me. Then if you're not the problem, you can at least help me. I have nothing to do with your problems now. I'm being asked to pay a settlement, but if I'm fired, I won't have the money to. Not having any kind of employment at this moment in my life where money matters most is just horrible. But what I've been trying to say is that you coming to me about all that isn't going to do you any good. I'm not even the one asking for your money right now, because I believe that you did all of that with Matthew not knowing that he's been engaged to me. So please stop complaining to me. But I don't have any money. I seriously have no idea what I'm going to do now. Matthew's father's company and the factory that my dad works in still have a contract that they'll continue to hold, and my grandpa is still waiting to be the primary shareholder for his dad's company. And as for Matthew cheating on me and ruining any chance of getting married to me, we've decided to try our best to keep the whole situation private, and out of as many ears as possible. And as for Matthew himself, he had to choose between being completely kicked out of his family or having to find work of his own from now on with no hopes of having anything to do with his dad's company. And in the end, he chose the latter. And as for the money he got for leaving his position within his dad's company, it was all given to me as a settlement. And when it comes to what happened after leaving his dad's company, his parents kicked him out of their house and had him moved into an apartment. Emma suffered pretty much the same fate as Matthew. However, instead, she didn't receive any money. Instead, she was fired from the company and had to use whatever money she had left to pay off the settlement to her ex-employers. This left her with a total of $0, and that was followed by her parents kicking her out of their house. After the two of them took so much damage after what they'd done, they both decided it'd be better to stay together rather than break up. So Matthew took Emma into his apartment to live together. However, that apartment was very old and the walls very thin. They always get into massive fights there about money and who messed up more, leading to lots of complaints from other tenants. It's only a matter of time until their landlord kicks them out of there, and they'll really have to start again with nothing. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and also feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.